I've always been an adventurer. I'm a Sagittarian. They're very adventurous, and they're quite honest. They shoot the arrow directly. I was born December 18, 1919 in Chicago, and my parents lived in Elmhurst, a suburb of Chicago. When I was just a little girl, I would lie out on the hillside on the west lawn and listen to a prop plane go across. And I vowed that I was going to seek the world and that I was going to do something, but I didn't know what. My father tried to teach me to be a listener, that you learn more from listening. In our house was the Chicago Tribune, the Chicago Daily News, the American, the Herald Examiner, and then all these magazines and other things we all read. Our father read. Daddy talked to us like we were adults. So I grew up with this wanting always to know everything because I was my father's child, yes. I entered high school at 13. Back in those days, a high school education was almost equal to a lot of students who go to college. And I graduated on the super honor roll, a member of the National Honor Society. Well, I then went to college. I was going to prepare myself for some career that I was capable of handling, and that would be an adventure for me. I saw in Advertising Age an ad, and the ad said, Director of the Chicago Fashion Industries, and you would do all of their special events, their promotions, their advertising. Everyone in the office said, but Eleanor, how could you be that brave? Well, I knew I wasn't completely qualified, but who wanted to be completely qualified? Where was the challenge? Everything I've ever done, I've succeeded, so off I went. Delta Airlines, Pan Am, American Airlines, the Buick division of General Motors, what they called big motorama shows, entertainment and music. I provided all of that. I then did the railroads. Santa Fe, which is Union Pacific, I would be invited to go down to the yards. When Bing Crosby came in, he was wonderful, and I later worked on committees with him. I met Buster Keaton. He's from the silent movies. When I then went to Vogue Studios, and they never had a woman do it. That was for this English automobile, and the model was late. I would be there at 8 in the morning, and sometime there were clients who, if they thought you were using a beautiful model, they wanted to come and see the model. I became a member of Fashion Group, which is an international organization of women executives. You had to be an executive in the same position for 4 years to be a member. When I started doing the charitable things, I became very conscious of all the needs of people. And this was something that my father particularly had impressed upon us. Our father told us how grateful we should be for what we have and to always remember to share with others. I was a Red Cross volunteer for 50 years. I was the vice chairman of development of programs, and I developed a program for the blind. Teach people who are blind how to do the fundamentals in their homes. I did work very hard then with young people. So many young people come into the courts with all these problems, and you can't send them to reformatories. You've got to do something that's positive. Mind you, I did all this as a volunteer. I traveled all over the United States talking on this subject, and I decided, I don't know why at the time, I was just going to resign from everything and travel with my husband. And a year and a half later, was discovered he had cancer. I decided, much to my friends' amazement, that I was going to come up here. I was here for a year where I just drove everywhere and learned all about this area. And then after a year I thought, Eleanor, if you're going to stay here, there has to be more to your life. So I drove down there and said, I understand you're opening a store up in Stroudsburg. I would like to do something. I showed them my resume. I said, you don't even have to pay me. I'll just do it. So then she excused herself and went to the vice president. He came down and he said, Eleanor, I know who you are. I know who your husband was. Of course, everybody in the business knows. He said, are you sure you want to do this? I said, yes. I worked there for 31 years. I retired at age 88. And the president, he said, good Lord, stay till you're 90. I think if I really boiled it down, it was to be happy and to use all the talents and gifts I had to share with others and to make things better.